everyone. My name is Caitlin Maniscalco, and I'm here with Figured Out Baseball for another episode of Real Dugout Confessions. For those new listening to the series, I am a senior outfielder from Long Island, New York, and I play softball for Ithaca College, a Division III school in Ithaca, New York. Today, I'm joined by senior pitcher Tommy Kraus from the Rockhurst University baseball team, a Division II school in Kansas City, Missouri. Tommy, thank you so much for being here.
It's good to be here, Caitlin. Thanks for having me.
So I know you're a senior, and it's been some time since you were recruited to play at the college level, but if you could think back to those days when you were 16, 17 years old, how was that experience like for you, and why did you ultimately decide to go to the school at Rockhurst?
Sure. I've been playing baseball my whole life, and going to high school and where I'm from in St. Louis, we have a really good baseball program. And going into my freshman year, I was on the freshman baseball team, and I had a great experience there. Coaches were great. All my teammates were great. So leading up to that, I was kind of like, okay, college baseball is not really on my mind. But then after that, and after the summer of my freshman year, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is the game that I love to play. This is the game that I want to continue to play. So my sophomore year is when I started to kind of try to put myself out there and get college coaches to look at me. Being from the Midwest area, I started looking at, me getting a big head. I was like, okay, Division One, I want to go Division One baseball, Division One or bust. And I quickly realized that, okay, this process is going to take a while. Let's maybe expand a little bit and look at some good schools academically, schools that are close to home, schools that are far away from home. And then
Right.
I just crafted an email I would send to the coach, like, hi, my name is Tommy Kraus. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. Send him a picture of my stats, a video, and that kind of really took off from there. Fortunately, I played for a really good travel ball team in St. Louis Naturals, and they had great resources for me to use. A lot of ex-pro players would come and coach us and kind of show us the ropes of the recruiting process. So that was a really good resource to have. First thing I would say is make a recruiting video. That's like one of the first things I did, and keep that updated. When I'm a senior in high school, I don't want coaches to be seeing a video from me in the sophomore year. That doesn't make a
Right.
whole lot of sense. So definitely keep that updated, and try to make yourself stick out. These college coaches, they get hundreds of emails a day. They're trying to sift through all of them. And in the subject line, I would try to put something creative, and like, I can't really think of an example right now, but try to make yourself stick out in some way, just to make yourself be like, oh, okay, let's click on this email and look at this guy instead of the other 100 that you're getting. So
Right.
I started going to events I think in the summer of my sophomore year, leading to my junior year, started going to events. Just like other schools, I was like Quincy University, I was interested. They had a baseball camp. I went to that. Best of the Midwest showcase. I know there's like Best of the West, Best of the East. Those are great ones. That's where I got noticed by Rockhurst my junior year going there. And then Prep Baseball Report, I'm sure you've heard of them. They're pretty huge. So they hold a bunch of events, and those are great resources to go to as well. And then I got found at Best of the Midwest showcase here in Kansas City by Rockhurst, and I've been in contact with them before. Knowing that they're such a good academic school, it was kind of like a no-brainer for me to even just put my name in the door, be like, hey, I'm interested, like, let me know what you think. And thankfully the feeling was mutual, and Coach Gary Burns reached out to me after my junior year, and I went on a visit, and things just kind of worked out from there.
That's awesome. So you touched a little bit on the recruiting video, and I think that is something that's so important and so valuable. And especially if you're trying to go to a school far from home, if they can't go out to see you, that's a great resource for them to see if you can play at the collegiate level. So,
Absolutely. Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was saying, with COVID and everything going on, that's like
Right.
you said, they can't travel very far to see you right now. So that video is such a great resource to try to exploit your skills and all that stuff like that for coaches to see.
What were you focusing on in putting into your recruiting video?
So coming into college, I was a two-way player. I play the outfield, and I came in mainly as a pitcher. So in my video with my pitching coach, we shot a lot of video, just kind of showing different pitches, different angles from different pitches, maybe some game film if that's available. And then hitting on a field, not just in a cage, because you really can't see where the ball's going in a cage.
Right.
So try to get out on a field and take some good video there. And then outfield, like throwing the bases, maybe getting a radar gun out for velo in terms of pitching and from the outfield or the infield, whichever position you play is pretty important as well.
Cool. Awesome. And so now you made it to college. It clearly worked out for you. I saw that you're a physical therapy major. Is that
Yep.
still your degree? Okay. So
Yes.
obviously that's very vigorous. That's a lot of studying.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to our listeners a little bit about how you find that balance with schoolwork and then playing at such a high level in college?
Sure. Thankfully, our coaching staff preaches that we're not just athletes. We're student athletes, and they offer a bunch of resources here. I'm sure at a lot of other schools too, like study halls, tutoring.
Right.
If you need that type of help, like my normal day, I'm up at 8, I have class. And then with COVID going on, we can't practice or lift as a team all at once sometimes.
Okay.
So like I'll lift in the morning with a group of guys, then I'll go hit before practice, then I have practice, then I have homework. So like it's a full day. It
Right.
is a lot to handle, but mentally it's not too hard for me just because I love playing baseball. And you got to make sure if you want to play baseball in college, you gotta love doing it. It's not something that you can just be like, oh, okay, like I'm kind of interested, like let's go here. Then you're gonna get swamped with a bunch of things. So, and luckily, like you have 40 other guys who are going through the exact same thing as you. So it's really nice to have an outlet to go talk to and be like, hey man, like have you had this class before? Like, you might help me out a little bit. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll help you out. Or we can go to tutoring. Some classes, if you're an athlete, they will require you to go to tutoring
Oh,
just to
really?
make sure you're staying on top of things. The teachers here are always really flexible with you too. Like last year we had midweek games. So like I would miss my Wednesday class, sometimes Thursday class, then we'd travel on Friday. So like you're missing 3 days of class there. So they want to make sure that you're staying on top of things and keeping up. They have open office hours and everything. So a lot of the colleges will have that resource for you. You just got to go out and use that. No one's going to force you to do it. You got to want to go out and do it.
And are the professors not lenient, but understanding that like you're an
Oh,
athlete and if you have to miss class, you'll make up the work and it will be okay?
absolutely. Yeah. And I know this weekend we went to St. Louis to play at Maryville and we had a 4-hour bus ride. So like,
Right.
okay, great. I can sit there with my computer and I can catch up on homework. It's not I have to play a double header. The last thing I want to do is sit down and do schoolwork right now. But that's a sacrifice you have to make to be able to perform academically and on the field.
No, I think that's such a good point that you made too. And I think that a lot of people, they want to play at the collegiate level, but they don't understand, like, if you're not super passionate about it, if you don't love the game, it's probably not the right decision to make because of all the time and energy that goes into.
Absolutely. I mean, even if let's talk about Division 1 then, because that's even more work. I've
Right.
played with kids who some of the best baseball players I've ever played with are in Division 1 right now, and they're even more busy than I am. So you really got to love it. I mean, you really do. But yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. And I know maybe my coach was a little bit differently, but when I came in as a freshman, I know that she didn't want any of the athletes to live together. It was just kind of like her rule. She wanted us to live with different people. Does your coach do something similar? Does he encourage athletes to live together?
He
Um,
actually encourages us to live together.
oh, okay.
I know actually he'll normally pair you up with someone, but thankfully one of my freshman year roommate, he found me on actually a recruiting website that he was on, and he wanted to see people that were going to the same place that he was going to. So he saw that I was going there. He reached out to me via social media and we got in contact. We ended up being roommates and we lived together again sophomore year. So he definitely encourages that. I mean, I'll tell the viewers out there, you're going to spend 24/7 with these guys.
Yes.
Like I'm with like I live with one baseball guy right now and the 2 other guys. And like our trip this weekend, like we drove up on Thursday for our games on Friday, and okay, it's a bus ride, 4-hour bus ride to St. Louis.
Right.
And then you're in a hotel room with them. Then you wake up with them, have breakfast with them, go to the field, batting practice,
Right.
infield work, outfield work with them, games with them, come back, eat with them. Like you're spending 24/7 with them. So you want to make sure that you really gel well with the guys. The coaches are going to be looking for that in the recruiting process. You can be a great hitter, great pitcher, whatever, but if you're not going to mesh well with the team, that's going to create bad chemistry, bad on the field performance, and all that stuff. So you really got to be really gel well with your team for sure.
Right, absolutely. And I know a couple of other interviews that I did, that's such a great point that you just made is as much as you want to come onto the team, like they need to make sure that you mesh well with their guys and like you're coming into like their family. And if it doesn't work well and if it doesn't mesh well, then you're like you just said, the team chemistry would just be all messed up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what do you think was, for me personally, when I was going through the recruiting process experience, I found one of the biggest challenges was kind of getting that mental switch. Like, okay, I'm going to play in front of a college coach. Like and I know they hate to say this, but I kind of need to perform well right now in order to get noticed. How did you mentally prepare for those showcases and camps and clinics that you mentioned previously?
I mean, like you said, you need to perform. You're
Yeah.
not going to beat around the bush. You really have to. And they're there to see you for a full day. If you don't perform, then maybe some feelings are going to be mutual in terms of interest for a school. But in terms of mentality, you just got to go in and try to have fun with it. Baseball is a game of failure. You fail, and same with softball. If you fail 7 times out of 10 and hitting, you're considered a great hitter. Like that's crazy to even think about. So you just got to try to go up there and relax and just focus on what your skills are. Like, you can't tell in the video, but I'm not a very big guy. So like, I'm not a big home run hitter. So like, I'm not going to try to hit for home runs. I'm going to try to get on base. I'm going to try to move runners over, like work on the skills that you're good at. Be self-aware. Don't try to do more than what you can normally do. I mean, in terms of playing in a tournament in front of coaches, it's just different from a showcase. Like in tournament, I'm in game mode, like I'm playing with my teammates. It's just the normal flow of the game. And the showcase, there's some downtime. You get to thinking, you're like, man, I hope I'm doing okay and all that stuff like that. You just really got to try your best to relax and get those thoughts out of your head and just have fun. Talk to a bunch of the other guys in the showcase. They're going through the exact same thing that you are.
Right.
They feel the exact same way. You'll meet a bunch of new guys. Like my roommate now, we met at the Best of Midwest showcase, and where I got found by Rockhurst. I didn't even know that he was there. And like 2 years ago, I was like, yeah, I got found at this showcase by Rockhurst. He's like, oh, were you at the Best of Midwest? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I was too. I'm like, see, I didn't even know.
Gosh,
So like,
that's so funny.
it's just like a small world, and you see plenty of different players coming from west, south, east, wherever. Talk to them. You're gonna meet a bunch of new guys. So just try your best to relax and just go out there and have fun.
Yeah. And I think that I really like that you said, kind of like maximize your potential and kind of market yourself with your best skills. I remember when I was getting recruited, I was playing shortstop at the time and I made like 2 errors and I didn't do great at the plate. I did okay, but I remember my coach that I was recruited by at the time, she said to me, like, I just loved your energy out there. Like, I thought you were so loud. I thought you were so vocal. I thought that you had great, like command on the field. So I think that's another great point that I try and have my listeners and viewers to think about is that even if you mess up a little bit, if your response and if your attitude is great on the field, that will go a long way with coaches.
That's huge. I mean, body language is going to be massive. Like the coaches are viewing you from the stands. They can't come up and talk to you directly during the game. They can after, but they want to see how you react. Like you
Yeah.
said, I mean, the coaches love your energy whenever like, okay, so what, you struck out. It's over with, short-term memory, get
Yes.
it out of the head and just focus on next play, so I mean, that mentality is so huge, and just in baseball and softball in general.
Yes. And like you mentioned, a majority of the time you're failing and you're successful in the
Yeah.
sport. So I think it's a game of failure. And as long as you're like bouncing back from those experiences, I think that it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And okay, so this is kind of a fun question that I like to ask everyone that I interview. And I think baseball and softball is unique because we're probably the only sport that plays back to back games. Everyone else just plays one game, but no, we pretty much always play a double header. So, what is your favorite double header, like in between games, snack or meal?
Oh, we always get like, we've gotten McDonald's a bunch of times, and like,
Really? I'm
yeah,
shocked.
I am too. I never eat it. It's like, like we always get like McDonald's like chicken sandwiches, and we're always like, coach, what's going like like what's going on? Like normally, like I bring my own stuff. Like I'll bring like a peanut butter and jelly or like a granola bar or something like that. And like they come in with like McDonald's bags. I'm like, oh man, like what's going on? I was like, we got another game in like 30 minutes. Like we can't be eating that. So that stuff, we normally get like Jimmy John's or like sub sandwiches. Like that stuff's good. We try to eat like a bunch of fruit and stuff like that before. At least I try to. Some of the kids like to eat the McDonald's before the games, I guess.
That's so funny. Maybe it's like their good luck. They're a little superstitious.
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah.
eat them.
We'll say that. We'll say that. Yeah.
That's so funny. And I know for me that something that I liked to hear about when I was getting recruited was like a typical day in the life of an athlete. Cause I think it varies from the different levels. Obviously I play Division 3, you play Division 2. Just those two are going to be so different. And then obviously in comparison to Division 1. So
Absolutely.
you're in season right now, busiest time of the year, probably for you. Like, what do you have on the agenda today? What's like a typical day in the life?
So I'll talk about pre-COVID, what our
Okay.
normal schedule was, because with COVID and everything, our schedule is just haywire right now. We're trying to figure out what the best time is for everyone with classes and everything. So I would say probably last year, every day, Monday through Friday, weights at 6 a.m. no matter what. Be there. If you don't, extra running at practice. After that, come back, shower, get something to eat, have class from about 9 to 3 or whatever. Practice at 3:30, about 3:30 to 6:30 on most days. Then after that, homework or just relax if you don't have any homework. Recovery a little bit. Go see the trainer if you need to.
Okay.
Making sure you're catching up on sleep, keeping hydrated and all that stuff. That's also extremely important. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of work. That 6 a.m. weights is.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I did that in high school too, so I was kind of used to it. But some of the guys here is a big adjustment for them.
Yeah. No, getting up early. I know during our preseason, we had nice 5 a.m. Tuesday morning practices.
Oh
Those
yeah,
were very, very fun.
yeah.
Like,
With COVID and everything, we've had to. It's like we can only lift once a day with our team. With COVID and everything, can't be in the same gym at the same time. So a lot of guys like we'll go lift on our own, we'll hit on our own, and then we'll have practice. Thankfully, I'm a senior, so I only have one class this semester. So my
oh,
my semester's extremely free. So I have a lot more time to go and get extra work in. Go see a trainer if I need to. Like, there's no excuses at this point.
right.
Like with everything, if I got to do all that stuff with having class from 9 to 3 and everything, 9 to 5 or whatever your schedule is, then I definitely can do it now.
No, awesome. And this is just final wrap up question. If you could give any advice or if you would have done anything differently that I'm going to rephrase that. If there's anything that you wish you did differently and advice that you would give to a 16 or 17-year-old, what would that be?
Nothing that I would necessarily do differently. I'm glad I got out of the Division One mindset. Like that is such a bad mindset. That while those programs are fantastic, like even low Division Ones are great, but don't count out the Division Ones, the NAIAs, the JUCOs, the Division 3s. Don't
Right.
cut those out just because they're not Division 1. No, I've had a great experience. I've seen great competition here at Division 2. I'm sure you've seen the same thing at Division 3. You're going to see great competition on all levels. So, and you're going to have a great experience I'm having a great experience as Division 2. Like, I wouldn't think that as a freshman in high school. I would think I'm like, oh, like if I'm going to Division 2, like I must not be good. Like I'm not whatever thoughts get into your head, but you're still seeing great competition, everything like that. So I'm glad I got out of that mindset. And some advice for the 16 or 17-year-olds, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. Like my sophomore year, like spend time sending emails. I know it's tedious. It's not fun, but I made up a template for myself and I'll just fill in the blanks with the college coaches and university. That made it a lot easier. I can send out more emails that way. But you're going to get out of it what you put into it. If you really want this and you're really passionate about baseball, you're going to want to do this. And it's a lot of long car rides. I would play tournament one weekend, then the next weekend I'd be going to some showcase in Indiana with my dad, and spending weekends in the hotels. And that's not necessarily something I want to do, but I'm glad I did it now. Like that's a small price to pay for the amount of fun that I've had in college and the experience I've had playing college baseball. And also for nowadays, I guess that's 6 or 7 years ago, whenever I was getting recruited, social media is huge now. Like
Absolutely.
you gotta really keep it clean on social media. College coaches, they look at that. They're all over social media too. They're looking for the complete player now. Like back then, social media wasn't huge, I guess, as it is now. So you're really gonna have to watch social media and watch what you say on social media and all that type of stuff.
No, that was a fantastic answer. Tommy, thank you so much for coming on and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks, Galen. I appreciate you having me.